Oh,
Here I am.
who are you? What do you do?
I'm Tommy Noel, and I do many things. So I farm in this beautiful farm. I work for Macmillan, which is a cancer charity, spending the money that is donated to them. I parent for Grace. This is Grace. Say hello, Grace.
Hello.
Hello. And B, who's somewhere over there. Hi, B. And I am setting up a new business, a glamping business called The Gathering, which is going to be awesome on the farm. And I also run a number of retreats with my wife Kirsty, including the Writers' Retreat, which is what we're doing right now. We're in the middle of it, which is why I'm wearing this lovely red apron, because I cook.
Tommy, how do you define achievement?
How do I define achievement? I think in probably quite a traditional way. I define it by constantly reiterating personal goals and trying to reach them. And some of them are great visionary ones, and some of them are small daily ones, and some of them are little battles with little people, like getting them dressed in the morning. But they do give me a sense of B, we're trying to do an interview. So yeah, there's some long-ranging visionary goals that I want to achieve, and they change all the time as I grow older and as I adjust, and some of them are very sort of daily, really. What was expected of me? Good manners was the first thing. That was the main discipline in our household was about good manners to other people. But I had a very undisciplined childhood, so we didn't really sort of have strict parents. We didn't have strict bedtimes, and in practical domestic ways it was a very undisciplined house. There were 5 children. And my mother, having been an only child under a very strict governess, I think was slightly reacting against that. And my father, very much, of that generation, the working father, didn't really get involved much in child rearing, as he would call it.
What about your mama?
And my mama, who you didn't meet, my mama was the kindest person probably in the whole world, and was a huge influence. She had an incredible love for everybody she met, and would focus entirely on you. She was a great listener. I went to Eton, yeah, and then Cambridge, and certainly had a very, materially a very privileged childhood. So we lived in a very large manor house surrounded by generations of family history, most of it military history. And lots of land to roam about in and ride, and horses and what have you.
But somehow you've escaped that pomp, it seems.
The pomp.
Yeah.
As did my mother.
That's one of the things that I respected about you so much. That you had all that, but yet you went into charity work. You worked in Africa and Prague, and you do not live a privileged existence. How did you steer clear of that?
Oh, I think it's all relative. I mean, this is hugely privileged. Look around me. I mean, I'm in a beautiful house, and which I didn't have to earn my way to. I inherited it. That's a huge privilege, and extremely freeing in a way. So that knowing that was sort of destined, I didn't necessarily feel pressure to earn great amounts of money to maintain a certain lifestyle, but for me it was just why I went to Prague after university was really about wanting to explore and understand. And also, probably I'm a bit of a romantic, so you remember 1989, the Berlin Wall coming down, and I was at Cambridge And it was just so heady, you know, that idea that this country or the whole part of the world that had been behind an iron curtain suddenly was open to experience was very attractive to me in a very romantic sort of way. And my mother adored Sue Ryder and wanted to give our big house in Devon to Sue Ryder to become a Sue Ryder home. But Sue Ryder took one look at this place, said, I could never afford to do it up because it was just so, you know, falling apart, in need of repair. So she said, I just can't afford it. So so that didn't happen. But anyway, I went to work for her in Prague, and she was one of these people who was very personal, which is something I like about achievement. So I'd be driving over to Prague and she'd say, oh, please come by. I've been donated all these fur coats and I can't sell them in England because all the animal activists will throw paint on them. But people will need them in the winter in Prague. So I used to fill my car with these fur coats and drive across Europe with a car full of mink and such.